Funny is I just saw a tweet. It's so ironic that we got Spike coming on. The son of Howard Eskin. Couldn't get Howard, so we settled for Spike.
Just deal with me, you nitwit.
Yeah. I would like to deal with you,
Howard,
but you left this in the cold for your son, who's wet behind the ear right now. No, I'm kidding. Spike's a good dude. But Spike, good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Roast here on 95.7 The Game. It's your best friends from the West Coast. Philadelphia's most loved, Joe Shasky the Butcher, Bonte Hill. And I just saw a tweet where it said the Philadelphia 76ers are monitoring the situation with Jimmy Butler in Miami. That can't be real, can it?
Well, whether they're monitoring it or not doesn't really speak to whether it would happen or not. But I think Daryl Morey is pretty well known for monitoring just about everything. So I would be shocked if it happened. I would be really surprised it happened, but I think there's probably some truth to they're keeping an eye on it.
Well, you had him. And then, of course, Jimmy Butler walking into Wells Fargo. Tobias Harris over me? So what's the fallout now after Philadelphia lost to 6? And I thought it was a great series, a great game. I have a lot of respect for Embiid from the way he played. Tyrese Maxey is a star. What is the fallout now that the Sixers have been eliminated in the first round?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird season and a weird thing to think about in that they ended up playing the 2 seed in the first round because Embiid was hurt, in the middle of the year. So rather than facing a team like New York in the second round of the conference finals, they had them in the first round, and it was as close a series as the Sixers have had since Embiid got here. I think that the total point differential in the series was 1 point, and every single game came down to the last minute of the game. So the truth is that the entire roster, aside from Embiid and Maxey, is not signed for next year, aside from a couple of rookie minimum guys. So the fallout is they get to rebuild the entire roster with free agency, and then whoever they choose to keep or chooses to come back from the current roster. So, Daryl will be here next year. Nick Nurse will be here next year. Joel Embiid will be here next year, and Maxey will be here next year. And I think the biggest thing is that Morey has sort of had, excuse is the wrong word, but walked into a situation that was not optimal. You have Tobias Harris on a $40 million max contract. You have Ben Simmons on a $40 million max contract. You had Al Horford on a $30 million contract who played the same position as Joe. So there was a lot of cleaning up to do. And then the Harden situation, of course, got pretty messy. But he does not, there's no excuses now. They've got draft picks. They've got cap space. They've got, what you would hope is a really good 1 and 2. So I think it's just all on him this offseason.
Yeah, I still can't get over that inbound play. I mean, it was just horrific. They should have won that game a variety of ways. Nick Nurse, Lowry, one of those guys got to call timeout in that situation. Tobias flashed to the ball. What's the general consensus on Embiid? Because B and I were talking how much we appreciate just the guy's out there. He's got a serious health issue, and his leg looks like he's dragging right now. What is the consensus in Philly regarding Joel Embiid? Because I feel like nationally, for some odd reason, he's getting crushed. I'm like, how could you watch that series and crush Joel Embiid?
Yeah, I think it's pretty split, locally as well. I think the issue is not how he played in this series. The issue is that it's another year where they fail to advance past where people wanted them to, and another year where he's hurt in the playoffs, which is you can sort of parse how much of that is his doing, whether, he's in shape or not, or those sorts of things, and how much of it is just his body failing him. But I personally think Embiid, this playoff series, came through in a way that he has not come through before. He's had, in other deciding games, he has had games where he has disappeared. He had 39 points and 13 rebounds last night, to your point, on a half of his face won't work and one leg won't work. And I thought he was heroic is probably strong, but I thought he had a really good game last night. I think that the trouble is that after this playoffs, the negative is that you're a little less confident that he'll ever be healthy when you need him to be, but you're a little more confident that he will, that lives up to the standards that we expect of him. So I think mentally he came through positively, physically he came through negatively. And then the reason that everything is on him is that Maxey just became a guy that people are aware of. So it's sort of like a backup quarterback in that you get a lot of praise when things go well, but people don't really blame you when things go bad. And I think Maxey is sort of in the spot where, he played great and won them the game in Game 5, and he got a lot of praise for that. Last night was largely invisible, but is not in a position where he'll get crushed for that yet. I think next year it will be much more about them, those two, rather than him, Joel Embiid.
All that money that Philadelphia has, and we're talking to Spike Eskin, WIPR sister station out there in Philadelphia. Paul George is rumored to be circled by the Philadelphia 76ers. Is there anything on Klay Thompson who's a free agent? Is Klay Thompson a rumor out there in Philadelphia?
So I've only heard his name as a rumor of people just sort of bringing up his name because he can shoot and because he is a free agent. Mm-hmm. So I think he would largely fit. I think the thing that you worry about Klay is what does he have left? Which, by the way, is a fair question for Paul George as well. But then I think the other question you have with Klay is that I think they would like whoever they spend a bunch of money on in free agency to be able to generate offense by themselves occasionally, and I think Paul George probably fits that role better than Klay does, which is why you've heard, Paul George, you've heard, Siakam, who I assume will just stay in Indiana, but a player who might be a little more capable of generating offense on their own as opposed to, running around screens and spotting up and things like that.
So you got the Giants against the Phillies this weekend, and I'm looking over at like the reverse of Joel Embiid. It feels to me like Bryce Harper is beloved by Philadelphia, and I now looking back on it, him coming to the Giants feels like what a fool's errand we did, pretending like we thought that could happen. How popular is Bryce Harper in Philadelphia right now?
Most popular athlete in the city, I think, bar none.
Really?
Wow. I would say currently, yeah, for sure. I would say that, more popular. Jalen Hurts may have had that mantle 2 years ago, but after the way last year ended, doesn't have it. I think Bryce Harper proved me pretty wrong. I think Harper came here with not a great reputation as a, clutch playoff performer. And if you had talked to Nationals fans, they would brag that they won the World Series the year after he left. And he came to Philadelphia sort of, I made fun of him for pandering, wearing Philly Fanatic socks and headbands and all that kind of stuff. But he's more than lived up to his contract and more than lived up to the expectation of a star. I think one of the things that you see with Harper is he finally he's been in baseball so long from so young that you forget he's really just 30-ish now. And, I think he has evolved into an adult in the way that he wasn't with the Nationals. And he's a leader in a way that he wasn't with the Nationals. And he's hit, in just his few years here, he's hit so many big home runs in the playoffs that, and has not, if he's pandering, if he's fake, he never misses, he never cracks. He never blames the fans. He never blames teammates. He always says the right thing, and he's performed well. So, and he has gotten here at a time when the team has gotten better. They had the Gabe Kapler years where it was every year was within it. Yeah, you guys know well.
Your dad called us the day that they signed him. Your dad called us, and he was destroying Gabe Kapler and all the things he
made
said.
for good interviews, though. I will say that, Spike. I did enjoy having him on the air.
Yeah, the greatest. I mean, his fights with Angelo Cataldi, our morning show host at the time, were legendary. And Gabe, on some level, this is sort of like behind the curtain. On some level, Gabe's arrival into Philadelphia made it easier to talk about the Phillies every day because every conversation and every decision centered around the polarizing manager. Baseball for a 500 team can get pretty weird to talk about in the middle of the year. But every day we would just argue about whatever Gabe did and whatever he said for 2 months a year. So anyway, but Harper getting there after that era and the team just getting better almost immediately, I think has also, added to hit the lore of Bryce Harper. But Bryce is pretty beloved. I think pretty clearly the most popular athlete.
Currently the most hated teams in Philadelphia. Is it The San Francisco 49ers?
Bonte and me?
Is it the morning roast? How happy were you guys out there when the Niners lost that Super Bowl to Kansas City?
God dang it.
It's funny. I actually have some friends out there, too, that I was reveling in their misery afterwards, too. So I think, I was pretty glad. And, we're sort of over the Andy Reid thing in Philadelphia now. So nobody, they hated Andy for a while. But now that let bygones be bygones. Eagles won a Super Bowl. Andy won a Super Bowl. I think the combination of the Niners losing and Andy winning, I think, was a nice little combination for everybody. I think you probably see a good number of Chiefs hats the day of the game and the day before the game in Philadelphia.
Damn. Did we help intensify that hate, Spike? How much impact did we have into this hatred that you guys have for us out here in the West Coast?
Well, I give you guys credit. I mean, the players are whiny babies, and you guys are whiny babies. So it makes for good fighting. I like having rivalries with good teams. I mean, that's what you're supposed to have. And the NFC East, aside from Dallas, has been such a tire fire over the last several years. Having a rivalry with the 49ers is a good one. I would say that you guys rank pretty high. The 49ers rank pretty high on the hate scale, and then you guys rank pretty high on the 49ers hate scale. So you should be proud.
Yeah, I am proud of that. I am. Because honestly, in a weird way, I love the Philly fans.
I don't.
I do because I respect
you guys.
I think
you know what? You've been nice, Spike. You're nothing like your dad. You're actually very professional. I like your dad. We love your dad.
I love his
but you know what? But I do too. But he'll come at us here. Spike's being all cool and calling us whiners. You know what, Spike? I'm just gonna say it. Your fans are fraudulent. The fact that New York Knicks fans down there took over the Wells Fargo Center not once but twice, and they're yelling F Embiid. And I thought you guys were tough. I thought you were passionate. You let Knicks fans take over the Wells Fargo Center? Oh, come on, Spike.
You know what? I disagree with that. I think teams should be held to a high standard for people to spend their time and money and go to the games. And when the Sixers have failed to advance here, the tickets are. You want to spend $500 for a pair of upper level seats to watch the Sixers lose? I mean,
Yeah, you guys sound like whiners now. Hey, man, if you want to play, it takes some big bank. Big bank, baby. You got to have those pockets rolling now. Come on now, Spike. Nope, no make excuses.
You got to make business decisions, man. You got to make business decisions.
Come on, these are the playoffs. This is all you guys got in Philadelphia.
Tickets.
All you guys got in Philadelphia is the Sixers, the Eagles, and nothing else in that dump. Your cheesesteaks are overrated. Your streets stink.
Bibbles is
Come on, they got
what are you
one
talking about?
cheesesteak spot out there. Come on, Philadelphia. Mitchell Ness doesn't belong there.
If this is what we're doing, isn't everyone in San Francisco hiding in their basements, like waiting for COVID to end, or they're hiding in their basements and the crime in the city? Isn't everyone either a Silicon Valley investor or a homeless person? Isn't that what San Francisco is?
No, my whole family is
we
plumbers.
are Gotham City.
Yeah, this is we're just more normal.
Don't come out here, Spike.
Honestly, this is what I do want to ask: how bad on the real? How bad was that loss for the average Philly fan when the Niners came in and it really did end their season because they went on a slide after that. But it was probably for the better because you changed your coordinators, you made some moves in the draft, but that must have been a tough week.
It was a tough week. I can tell you, though, that team, it was a matter of time. We said it when they were 10-1. Everyone saw them winning games, but everybody knew it was wrong, and the idea that the Niners were going to obliterate them, I think if you would ask people, deep down in their heart what they really thought was going to happen, I think most people would have thought that would happen. Now, I don't think anyone saw the total collapse afterwards happening, that they could not find the thread again. But it's better to know what you are, make the decisions based on who you are, rather than have some false idea of what you are going into the off season. So to your point, I think they needed to change the coordinators. I think they needed some change in personnel, and they're addressing those, and we'll see what happens. You guys are about to give $50 million a year to a game manager.
What do you think of that? I want to ask you.
Hold on.
Spike,
come out here. You're not going to disrespect Brock Purdy on these airways. We're the only ones. We're the only ones. Stop playing the other side stats. All of a sudden, you kiss in Philadelphia.
I want to hear what he has to say because I want to use it as a soundbite for the next 6 months.
You know what? Yeah, no doubt. We'll let him use the soundbite. But real quick, how does it feel that the Niners ended your season The Giants into the Phillies known for Ryan Howard and Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley. We ended that dynasty. We're just a thorn in your ass out there, the 215.
Nobody cares about you guys generally. I would say the 49ers fine, but you ended our season, but it's not like it ended you didn't end in a championship, it ended in another failure. Like, how many seasons have you gone into the year expecting the 49ers to be, Super Bowl contenders, only to have it end in failure?
30 years in a row?
Well, but I mean, they've been knocking on the door. I mean, come on now. Go ahead, give us some Purdy soundbite.
I like hearing the outside perspective on our players. I just do. So what do you think of Brock Purdy?
I actually think he's pretty good. I think there's pretty clear tiers of quarterbacks, and there are some quarterbacks who can lift you above where you should be. A player that can drag a team that is good to being great. I don't think he's that. I think he's below that, but he's still good enough.
So if the Niners paid him $50 million, and I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but if they paid him $50 million, the general Eagle consensus would be what?
They would laugh. They would laugh. I mean, they would do the same thing as when the Giants paid Daniel Jones $40 million.
Wow.
I mean, come on. He's better than Daniel Jones, though, but, come on.
I don't know. Is he really, though?
Yes, he is.
He stayed healthy.
Yes, come on,
man. Come
on. He's won high-level games.
You see Daniel Jones.
He threw 16 touchdown passes in his best season.
Daniel Jones.
That's
Daniel Jones won a playoff game by himself, basically. Brock Purdy never has. I'm not insulting Brock Purdy, but if you put Daniel Jones with health on the 49ers team, he would have the same numbers Brock Purdy did.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but that's an interesting perspective. I disagree with it. To me, Daniel Jones, he's not the rhythm time thrower. He doesn't have the accuracy over the middle. I just don't see it.
Hey, you tell Philly, we'll see you next season. We'll see you guys. I'll actually, you know what, Spike? I'm going to be out there for a wedding, and the Braves are going to be in town taking off Phillies.
I'll get you guys up. Biggest fan over here.
Yeah, you know what? Now I'll wear my Giants hat, and we'll go have a beer. And we'll tell Philadelphia we'll have some fun.
Is that a threat or a request?
Yeah. Don't I have to agree to have the beer for us to have the beer?
Well, you don't have to, but I'll be there.
I'll call Howard then.
I'll be there. I'll call. Yeah, I want to hang out with Howard anyway. He's bougie like me, so I like that one. Shasky, you can hang out with Spike.
I'm not going to lie, though. I always laugh at hearing the Eagle fan talk about, Brock Purdy in general, because I think he's the most, lovable. If he was an Eagle, he would be one of the most lovable stories in Eagle history.
I would agree. I have no doubt. I would totally agree that he's, last pick in the draft, ends up being 100%. I totally agree.
You guys would love him.
He's not, so we'll be realistic about him while you guys will overrate him.
All right, Spike, you're a good sport. You're a good sport.
Good stuff. Totally different than your dad, but that's not bad.
No. I am who I am. He is who he is. I always say he is the best sports talk radio guest in America. If you need somebody to come mix it up on your radio station for 15 minutes, he is absolutely the best.
Is the mink coat real?
Oh, yeah, dude. He had... So when I was in my mid-20s, when I was a rock radio DJ at night, I drove into the radio station one day, and there was a billboard on 676 with Javon Curse and my father, both wearing fur coats, both with their shirts unbuttoned under the fur coat showing their chest.
I love that.
Wow.
I love that. That's my type of guy.
That is what my upbringing was like.
Spike, you're a good sport.
We call it taco meat out here.
Yeah.
Bonte calls it a little taco meat showing, a little chest hair.
On your chest hair.
Yep.
Hey, will you go have fun in that raggedy ass city, Spike? I feel sorry for you now. You made the worst decision of your life moving from New York to Philadelphia. That damn
Spike was way too cordial from you.
No, the hell with that. That city smells like piss. Bye, Spike. Get the hell out of here.
Right.
Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell. I got my middle fingers up in Philadelphia. You're out here playing nice with these guys. These guys just no, I'm not letting it go ever. I hate that city. And I hate that fan base to the day I die. The hell